more I know, Father more kind know. Family more baby, okay, she might know. I'm a petty player, I come my village. Mr. Money more available. Give me my cross, my available. Give me my baby, go kada. I deliver stay banana, oh my banana. Go chop my banana. Show me power, go nigoa. Elemi lo bala. Ejima like, my sultana. Cause you dey amazing, your body amazing, to be late, don't keep me waiting, no procrastinating, terminator, you don't get agreement, no terminating, give me fuck you up for. Can't you kill it. If you don't go mind, make I be on my door. If you don't know, must have me slow man.
The countdown has begun, ladies and gentlemen.
I feel like free, boy.
Kindly be seated. The countdown has begun.
Electricity, vibes on a frequency, till infinity, steady on a different beat. Life is not that deep, it's all about the energy, the mentality. Now you making my body, the body go sign. And you know everything I do is nobody else concerned. Sure you go come online. And I see darkness all around me, but I know I'm the light.
Shake it, baby, shake it. I feel your vibration. Fine girl on motion. Beautiful temptation. Bad girl on rotation. Shake it, baby, shake it. Electricity, vibes on a frequency, till infinity. Steady on a different beat. Love is very sweet, but first you must get the moolah. Now poverty, now you making my worry.
Nobody go sign. And you know everything I do is nobody else concerned.
Sure you go come on, And I see darkness all around me, but I know I'm the light.
Shake it, baby, shake it. I feel your vibration. Fine girl on motion. Beautiful temptation. Bad girl on rotation. Shake it, baby, shake it. Not tonight. Electricity, vibes on a frequency. Cause I believe in my colaya.
Till infinity, steady on a different beat. I go it, if not 10 years, he go 10. And only you feel like in my fire. Girl, won't you be mine? Where you there? She a fit see you today. I'm starting in your body, feel cutting my wire. All over you to find. Eat your banana like monkey.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are officially welcome to the very first edition of the Innovates Tech Conference 2022. Theme: Innovation, Solutions and Talent, driving the economies of the future. A little bio of the convener of the Edo Innovates Tech Conference. Asemota Izodua Precious is currently the director, Edo State Innovation Hub, working with several frontiers of influence and interfacing with different levels of government to ensure the development of technology in Edo State. He is also the Facebook Developers Circle lead for Edo State, a mentor and a venture capitalist on Ventures Capital for Africa, a platform that connects startup entrepreneurs with the knowledge, support programs, mentors, and investors needed for success. Asemota's passion for technology development has also spanned several technology fields. He had also functioned as the program's lead for Coven Works with the goal of raising and injecting 100 million data science and AI engineers into the global workforce. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome Asemota Izodua Precious.
Good afternoon, everybody. Let me first say welcome. And then secondly, can you do something for me? Can we all stand? Okay, good. Just tell the person next to you, tell the person welcome to conference. Just find like 2-3 people and just tell them welcome to conference. 2-3 people, it means you have to leave your seats. All right, we can have our seats now. Thank you. Okay, so I want to welcome you to conference. This is our first edition, and the theme of this edition is innovation, solution, and talents. And one of the things that we hope to achieve is to create an interactive platform, within the ecosystem. And we've been having people working in silos for a while, so we decided to say, okay, let this be the first time we are pulling the entire ecosystem in one place. And seeing the crowd here right now, it is really awesome. So I don't know why, I just feel like telling you to shout. That feels good. Maybe we should do it one more time. All right, so the Edo Innovates Tech Conference seeks to bring everybody together, from the private sector to the government and to people who are standing by the wayside, to startups who have been working in silos, and to talents who probably have just been working in small places by themselves, to the hubs that make up the ecosystem, to partners that make up the ecosystem, to everybody who is involved within everything. So one of the things we also seek to do is to make sure that there's synergy within the ecosystem. It simply means that we could all build together, and in doing that, it means that we come up with more solutions that are community-based, that solves our problems now and probably in time to come. And so far, we've been doing some work. And this conference is partly to also showcase the people that have gone through the Edo Innovation Hub, gone through the Edo Tech System, gone through every hub in Benin. And we want to pull them out there. We seek to have them, get sponsorships, deals from outside. We want to hear people raising funding of $5 million, $100 million. We want to take the entire thing from Lagos and put it in Benin. And from this, I can say we're already on the way there, and we're already getting a good start. And so far, we have a lineup of speakers that are going to give you real value from people from Bill Gates Foundation to GIZ, our partners, to New Globe, to ICLAT, who are partnering with us, to Decagon, and to every other person that's going to be around. So I just want to use this medium to tell you to expect so much, because we are not going to do anything less than the best within the conference. So this is me welcoming you to Edo Innovates Tech Conference 2022, and do have a blast. Thank you.
The Innovation Hub was born out of Governor Godwin. The Innovation Hub was born out of Governor Godwin Obaseki's visionary mandate to give Edo youths access to jobs with a high growth potential. The Innovation Hub was born out of Governor Godwin Obaseki's visionary mandate to give Edo youths access to jobs with a high growth potential, and its focus on job creation and enterprise development through information and communication technology. Edo Innovates was commissioned with the aim of providing The Innovation Hub was born out of Governor Godwin Obaseki's visionary mandate to give Edo youths access to jobs with a high growth potential, and its focus on job creation and enterprise development through information and communication technology. Edo Innovates was commissioned with the aim. The Innovation Hub was born out of Governor Godwin Obaseki's visionary mandate to give Edo youths access to jobs with a high growth potential, and its focus on job creation and enterprise development through information and communication technology. Edo Innovates was commissioned with the aim of providing a platform for grooming technological and innovation-driven entrepreneurs, as well as setting up a center for training Edo residents on skills development with a specific focus on technology in the state. The Edo Innovates facility is strategically located at the heart of one of Edo State's micro, small and medium enterprises areas that happens to have high student density and serves as the home of South-South Innovation Hub. The facility houses 23 workspaces, which include 3 computer labs, 7 co-working spaces, 4 offices, 5 training halls, a library, a cafe, and other amenities. Over the next 2 years, the Milestone Initiative looks to engage more local and international investors and partners to nurture, accelerate, and support over 3,000 startup businesses, both online and in person, while providing technology and skills development training for a minimum of 5,000 residents on data science, artificial intelligence and robotics, entrepreneurship, digital marketing skills, creative skills development, and others.
I go further, can you pick up your phone, then stand up, then take a selfie, and tweet this event? I don't know what the hashtag is, but we can use Edo Innovate. So can we do that really quick? So everyone stand up. A selfie. So when you take a selfie, if you're on Facebook or Twitter or your WhatsApp status or LinkedIn, you say something about it. Okay, so can everyone sit down now? So I'm just going to be here for 2 minutes. I speak really fast, so I'm so sorry for that. My name is Victor Peter, and I'm the CTO for Greysoft, and we have another side of this event happening in a different side, which is the metaverse. So everything that's happening here right now is also happening in the metaverse, and a link is going to be displayed on the screen during the event. So just what you're going to do is that when you see the link, you join the link, you create your avatar. Hello? Hello? Oh, okay, good. So when you create, can everyone hear me? Hello? Hello? Can everyone hear me now? Okay, so what
I work so hard before I make my million.
Hello? Okay, so sorry about that. Okay, so what I said is that a link is going to be shared on the screen. So make sure you join the link. We have two spaces. The first is, instead of using YouTube to watch the event, you can join in the metaverse to watch the event. That's one. Instead of you joining the crowd to go to the virtual booth, to go to the physical booth, you can also join the virtual booth. So I don't want to spoil the timeline. Everything is going to be displayed on the screen. Make sure you interact and have fun. Have a lovely day, everyone.
Are you there? I'm there. Among the billionaires. La Bangali. Like the video.
All right, so still at the 2022 EduTech Conference. Please let's not forget to take selfies, post on social media, create media frenzy and attractions while you see at the event. Please do well to enjoy as we proceed. Thank you.
Xbox on the spinning wheel. DJ Xbox on the 1 and 2.
My good friend, they say show me your friend, tell you how. Oh my friend, I know 59. The good times we shared. Never
DJ
ever
Xbox
ever
on the spinning wheels. DJ Xbox on the 1 and 2s.
Good times are always good. Lately I have been so cold, and I wanna be with you, my friend. Good times are always good. Lately I have been so cold, and I wanna be with you, my friend.
They say blood is thicker than water. Some friends are loyal than brothers. True. It's who I run to when life sometimes gets hard. I know you'll never talk behind my back. I pray that I live long with you. My friend, forgive every wrong I do. I may not have money, but with you I am rich, my friend. Some family, they will judge and condemn you. But you never leave me, no, you never ever leave me. I may have knowledge, but with you I am wise, my friend. Good times are always good. Lately I've been so good, and I wanna be
Every day me bust them brain, and anytime when me climb on the stage, all of them appreciate. To all the ones we lock them gates, no hard feelings, me now they fight them, I still appreciate. Number one champion, 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 number one champion. When he blow, he shot them face. For this game, I be the only Ruga, nobody fi take my place. Let me make things clear. We gonna to stay. So bad man, all of them got no choice, they must accept my grace. Listen carefully. Doja, I'ma definitely make it, I'ma go for. Oh God, when I dey squat for the house, I dey crash on the sofa. But so far, Jah's been blessing me, bring out the best in me. This is my destiny. Number one champion, 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 number one champion.
Way I get now, who are you? She said my daughter no go gree for you. Say you can ask for a handy too. Your looks are all refined, your style is cool. I tell her make she take another look. Them not they use the cover judge a book. Me and your picking no fit get issues. I too good like a pair of Nike shoes. Never in case you don't forget. Never know, never forget. Every man and penny care. No look say I come from here too.
Me on Snapchat, sexy snaps me out, beating like rap chat. Cause in my quality bed, quality rest is rest assured for you. Me ready shoot my shots and you. Put it on your private story. Let me see you in your full glory. Anything I want you show me. She did finish work, she did go in. No man can ever clone me. I'm the realest, she knows me. To feel all that you told me. When I finish work, they be going.
DJ Xbox on the spinning wheel. DJ Xbox on the 1 and 2. Ha!
We won't forget, boom boom now. Yeah, you been on my mind lately. Forget, boom boom now. We want to see you soon. You should be here, man. Come catch my cruise. We want to see you move. All I need is you. Baby, stay in my room. Yeah, good girl, right there. Send these drinks to me. 24 hours delete. Automatically, gently, steady your fingers.
I wanna take a picture so this could last longer.
DJ Xbox on the spinning wheel.
Take
DJ
my
Xbox on the 1 and 2.
precious money. I never want to hear you quiet, so I write songs for you. And I believe, yes I believe, I'm falling for you like a thief, breaking the knees. Cause when I see you, I feel to steal the keys to your heart again. Yeah, yes I believe, I'm falling for you like a thief, breaking the knees. Just when I see you, I feel to steal the keys to your heart again. My baby bad, my baby good, my baby all the things I need. My baby bust up the silence, so my baby bust up the silence, so my baby bad, my baby attention. I need your love and attention. I need your love and attention. Give me lolly, lolly, lo, la, 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 la. Girl, I need your love and attention. I need your love and attention. I need your love and attention. Give me lolly, lolly, lo, la, 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 la. If you need my company, I can give you work tonight. And if you play the melody, I can sing your song tonight. So what the problem? Girl, I need your answer now. Baby, keep me satisfied. My love for you. I'ma get me say she wanna pull up to Echo. Loving in the balcony, I'm buckling your plum plum. Then you need a tango when I play the bongo. And she let it stamina me bully like a Lambo. Joe, flamenco. I'ma send me fire like a militanto. Nah, all I really want is your family bonding. No be all the time when you go hit it around. Cause girl, I need your love and attention. I need your love and attention. I need your love and attention. Give me lolly, lolly, lo, la, 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 la. Girl, I need your love and attention. I need your love and attention. I need your love and attention. Give me lolly, lolly, lo.
Figure 8, no be 19. I did DJ, so just spin a minute wine clean. Baby girl, I saw you bust my go-go mind scene. I feel pull up in a W. Yeah, I got the money with your trouble. Let the DJ spin a wine clean. Every time we reach us, baby, send a piping. And she knows say me not ready for no wifey. But she tell me say she really love me past me. She tell me say the thing is so mine. She back it up and tell me baby make you grab time. Say that tell me say you so mine. She back it up and tell me baby make you hold tight. And I gonna love it till it's alright. As long as I see right up my mind. So baby I live and see my mind. Baby I live and see my mind.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm so oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Nah. Oh yeah. You're addicted to the lifestyle. Girl, I know, girl, I know, girl, I know. Oh, oh. Please, baby, can you take it slow? Every night and day, you were always on the road. Never give it up. You're addicted to the lifestyle. Girl, I know, girl, I know, girl, I know. Oh, oh. Please, baby, can you take it slow? Every night and day, you were always on the road. With me in the mood. What can I do? I'm stuck in the blue. Yeah, got me that style. Open my wrist, close, then I right down. Playing the shot.
Open your mind and your ears. Let's see happen. Should not just make my people suffer.
DJ Xbox on the spinning wheels. DJ Xbox on the 1 and 2. Ah.
20th of October 2020. You carry me go kill many youth for Lekki. And so what run away my eyes. Nothing you go talk we go justify the case of their mother. The chief of staff, the commander, and the army will carry order. Mr. President, Mr. Governor, got the father go job. All your atrocities, all of your gonna make all the dead body disturb you for your dreams. The money where you thief yak back for your eyes. You don't turn our graduates to common beggars. Oh, the book then go no matter. Nothing no go get up, you know no Godfather. The chief of staff, the commander, and the army will carry order. Mr. President, Mr. Governor, got the father go job. All your atrocities, all of your gonna make all the dead body disturb you for your dreams. 20th of October 2020.
gentlemen. DJ, please.
Leaving the moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, please let's stand up for the national anthem.
Of the new, oh arise, sons and daughters of the land. The king of the city is marching. Stand up high.
Can we please rise for the Edo anthem?
The founding fathers have labored, and our time to serve is now. The glory of the new Edo nation will forever be our pride. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the land people dream to be. Our treasures are found in all nations, and our greatness is second to none. Our history forever shall be written, how our kings have endured all times. A people cultured in unity, our hearts beat for the land. Rich culture, stories of heroes, legacies forever be. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the land people dream to be.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, we need to stand up as a give a rousing welcome to our action governor, His Excellency. Let me hear those hands go. Let's put our hands together for him. Governor Godwin Nogegase Obaseki. He's been an action supporter of the tech space. Your Excellency, sir, you are welcome.
Okay. Okay. All right. So quickly, I'm just going to run through why we are here. So we decided to convey this first summit to bring everybody within the ecosystem together. And one of the things we seek to do is to create an interactive platform for everybody within the ecosystem to be able to build together. And over the course of the next 4 days, we'll be having awesome value-packed activities from people like Princess Edoe Saige of InterSwitch, who is going to be telling us how to achieve product market fit. And we're going to be having Mr. Oxford Osaritin Gobadia
hands together.
Please, who is also going to be telling us about the Status Act and what it means to us in the ecosystem and how we can leverage it to also build better. And day 2 would be the startups exhibition. It means that tomorrow we are going to be focused on startups, small businesses within the ecosystem who are thriving and who need to find their feet on the ground. And we're going to also be having within this conference hackathons, business accelerator pitches, and we're going to be having them in education technology, agri technology, and health technology. So over the next 4 days, it's going to be really exciting. We have people from the Bill Gates Foundation around, and Mr. Olubumi is going to be talking on what your startup is and what it's not. It's going to be really exciting in the next 4 days. So again, a very interesting part of it is that the hackathon, for everybody who gets to win the hackathon, gets to go home with 2 million naira within the conference. And everybody who does the business accelerator pitch gets to go home with 3 million naira. Now, this is outside the meeting with venture capitalists, with angel investors within the conference. Now, so I'll just advise that if you are a startup or if you are within the conference to learn, it is an opportunity open, like a blank check, for you to actually do a lot within the conference.
Yes, so everybody, do not miss a day. Do not miss all of the activities put together for you. All of this was arranged for your education and participation. So we're enjoying you to come every day. Let's declare the place open.
All right.
We'll call His Excellency.
So we're going to officially welcome His Excellency. Please put your hands together. A standing ovation. Keep clapping, keep clapping, keep clapping, keep clapping.
It's time for the keynote address, which will be delivered by His Excellency. Mr. Godwin Nogegase Obaseki began his career over 30 years ago and has established track records in investment banking.
Please be seated. Wow. I'm also taken aback. I didn't know that Edo Innovates had put such an amazing conference together. I want to first acknowledge members of the Edo State Executive Council who are here. I see a few commissioners in the hall, and also some permanent secretaries who have come in with them. We have Mr. Oswald Bobadia, Senior Special Assistant to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on technology. We have our own Ukinibo Dari, Chairman of Edo Jobs. We have Victor Asemota, who is also the co-host of Edo Innovates. Princess Edo Saige, the head product leadership, Agile and InterSwitch. Thank you, Lubumi Okunowo and Mr. Ekanem from Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I want to acknowledge with a great deal of gratitude our partners from GIZ. I'm sure all of these will not have been possible without the support we've continued to receive from you. And all of you folks in the house, good afternoon. For me, this afternoon, I was told to come and declare this conference open. But before doing so, let me just make a few comments. First, you will all agree with me that Edo has made quite a lot of progress in the technology space. And it is deliberate because the world today is about technology. And if we do not, as a group, as a people, quickly take our seats in that classroom of global technology, we may be left out. The last several years have been quite interesting and thrilling. From the start when we set up the Innovation Hub, through working with all the various partners in and out of government, we have, through those years, kept our eyes on the ball. For us, it's about young people. It's about the future. And that's why, as a government, we will not spare any resource to make sure that we invest in our young people, because it's about tomorrow. For a lot of people, a lot of guys, they say, well, these guys are eccentric, but we like them because of the creative energies which you young people have. And our goal as a government is to help you unpack these latent talents and give you the opportunity so that you can prefer solutions to our problems and your problems using technology. Today in our world, technology remains the core of our transformation agenda as a government. We will continue to emphasize youth development because you are the ones who will help us with our economic expansion. You recall when I got into office about 6 years ago, I did promise that I was going to, in my first term, create 200,000 jobs. Today, we have surpassed that target by deploying technology. Just working with you guys from the Innovation Hub through all the other initiatives, we have exceeded the 200,000 job target we had set for ourselves. And it is soothing that in doing these, we have ushered our youths into a new future of work. The Edo State Skills Development Agency, which has impressively managed the process of this nascent technology space in Edo State, has performed creditably well in transforming Edo State into a powerhouse for technology, talent, and innovation. At this juncture, let me just ask Ukine Bodari and all the team from Edo Jobs, Edo Innovates, and everything that you guys have done in that space. All of you from Edo Jobs, could you just rise for acknowledgement? Thank you very much. We really do appreciate the efforts and hard work which you have put in through these years. The theme of this conference, Innovation, Solutions, and Talent, Driving the Economies of the Future, is a very apt one because it speaks to the efforts in positioning our state strategically to tap from the fourth industrial revolution. We have created an ecosystem that will sustain the emerging industries in Edo and in our country, which include outsourcing of talented programs to global companies, rechanneling energies of our young ones to dominate the knowledge economy and exploit their creative talents for the expansion of the creative industry. The technology ecosystem in Edo State is supported by a very durable data infrastructure. Today, we have approximately 1,200 kilometers of fiber optic connections installed around Benin Metropolis and the 18 local government areas of the state. And we have done this with support of partners. But this is just the beginning. Our goal is to make Edo a truly smart state. We have not only focused on building the infrastructure platform on which your technological innovations will rest, we've also been very, very emphatic on creating institutions to support the various vehicles that will drive our growth in this trajectory. These include this very facility that's hosting this event, the Victor Owaifo Creative Hub and Soundstage, and other facilities like the Edo Tech Park for training of top-range software engineers, as well as institutions like Edo Innovates and the Edo Production Center to drive the productive sector. We are very happy that a lot of efforts have been deployed towards promoting technology and innovation, and these efforts have enjoyed the support of our international partners, such as the World Bank, the German government, the Swiss government, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, just to mention a few. We also enjoy partnerships with private technology corporations such as Facebook, Google, Siemens, Microsoft, amongst others. The parade of Nigerian technology companies here today attests to the impact which we have made in leveraging technology to drive our growth in Edo State. As we have a parade of very highly successful brands supporting this event. But we are not resting on our oars. We still require big ticket investments in the permanent site of the Edo Tech Park, which is a 27-hectare piece of property that we will be developing over the next few years to host most of what you guys are doing. At the Edo Tech Park permanent site, we are encouraging investors in real estate, technology, animation, support services, and others to come and tap from the immense potential of our youths in our state so that they can promote enterprise and solve our society's problems. As all of you are gathered here today and over the next few days, I would like you to ensure that we make this conference an annual event. And we can only do so by the set of standards we set at this conference. I am quite pleased and impressed with what I have seen so far. This is the first outing of its kind. But I trust that the next iterations we're going to have will have many more partners join us because of the success of what we would have achieved in the next few days. So I welcome you to our states, and even for those of you who live here, I think it's time to encourage you to also begin to explore the city. Some of you didn't know that a facility like this exists, and there are many more that we're building around our city and our states. So have fun, enjoy yourselves, and please don't forget the message. You are joining us to make Edo the technology hub of the nation. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Please let's make welcome the convener of the Edo Innovates Tech Conference, Asemota Izodua Precious, as he talks about Hackathon.
Please, please put your hands together for His Excellency again. So just to give you a brief of the partners that we have within the conference, and please put your hands together because it's not easy to actually have these kind of partners come in together. We have GIZ, we have Songhai Labs, we have Sterling Bank, we have the Google Developers Group, we have Remote Base, we have Decagon, we have Pillow, we have New Globe, we have Green Zone, and we have Eclat of Interswitch. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm just going to delve right in. The next thing is the hackathon. So on the 22nd of October, we launched the hackathon for the conference. And the aim was to build solutions for rural areas to, help solve problems for people in the rural areas. And we decided to focus on education, health, and agric. And when we put out the applications, we had over 64 people who came in for the business accelerator pitch. And then we had 134 teams, that's 536 people, who came in for the hackathon. And last week, we hosted them at the Edo Innovation Hub for 2 days. They sat down, they built, some got frustrated, which is normal, and some got inspired and created really awesome solutions. And we're going to be having some of them come up today, and at the end of the day, we're going to have some of them go home with the first sets of 2 million naira for the hackathon. So please join me welcome Emmanuel to the stage. So Emmanuel is a part of the Edo Innovates team. Please come up stage. So he's part of the Edo Innovates team, and the hackathon was completely handled by the team, and they are all young people. That's the funny thing. Everybody within the team is young, and these guys are doing great in their own respective places. And some of them are working with the best set of companies in the world. And just to also add that we now have Edo Innovates graduates working in places like Microsoft, Google, and that is awesome for us. So Emmanuel.
Thank you very much, sir. Your Excellency, sir. Standing on existing protocols, I'd like to introduce to you the next generation of tech in Edo State. Please put your hands together for them. The kind of ideas they came up with were mind-blowing. They were mind-blowing. And to be solving for something as crucial as rural development, I hope you'll be as blown away as we were. Project 114, are you ready? Are you ready? Come show them what you did. All right, walk up. Please put your hands together for Project 114. Come on, come on.
All right. Your Excellency. Okay. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Odige Osasume Mark. I'm an indigene of Edo State from Oredo local government. I'm the team lead of Project 114, and with me here are my team members, Oluwafemi Obanwo, Shalom Gar, and Patrick Chidubem. We are Project 114, and we are filled with enthusiasm and excitement as we present our solution to you this afternoon, 114 Play. Let's begin.
All right. Good morning once again. So, generally speaking, we can see that
there is a lack of interest or a decreasing interest in the engagement of students. Okay, these are the team members. So we can see globally that there is a general decrease in the engagement of students in the learning process. And this is seen basically because there is a lack of motivation, and then there is a general evolution in the learning process. But one of the things that we have seen also among the young people is that there is a constant desire among young people to engage in fun activities. We are full of life. We are full of energy. And so young people want to engage in fun. They want to be a part of a happening environment, an environment that has what we call vibes. Now, what we want to do with our solution 114 is to increase student retention and comprehension for better understanding. We want to increase the passion for learning amongst our students, and we want to reduce the skimming process of students in the learning process. Our vision is to innovate a system of education that would catalyze the evolution of learning. Our governor said in his speech that the world is evolving and we don't want to be left behind. Also, what we want to do is to make sure that our education system is not also left behind. Our learners of today, leaders of tomorrow, are not left behind in the learning process. Our mission is to adopt innovative reinforcement techniques that will spur the passion for learning. Now, our target audience are the O-level and A-level students. We would also have to interface with the school management and also individuals. Our features would involve the learning feature, the playing feature, and the competing feature. Basically, what we are doing is to try to find a way to creatively innovate learning or gamify learning so that students are able to learn and play at the same time. We have a lot of young people who want to, play video games, PlayStation, football. So we want to find a way to increase or to rather incorporate the gaming process in learning. In my thesis in 2017, my thesis was about the pedagogical patterns of learning programming. And one of the things I found out in my research is that when you add gaming into your learning process, there is an increase in the engagement. And we also learned from neuroscience that there is a high secretion of dopamine in the brain that has a way of impacting the retention process of a student when they are engaging in the learning process. And that's what we want to achieve with our product today. So I'd like to hand over the mic to my colleague, Obaon Femi, as he takes you through the project.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I would like to quickly run you through how the process works. So on this platform, like you mentioned, we have our targeted audience. And our targeted audience are the O-level students across A-level. So this is the onboarding screen. When you launch the app, this is the first screen. Then the learn, like you said, onboarding screen for learn that explains about the learning, the play, and the compete. So user, as a new user, back. As a new user, you get to register. And if you are an existing user, you log in. Next screen. So this is the home page. After you log in, you get to have access as a new user. You log in for free. So you get access to the gamified learning platform that we've built together. So in this gamified learning platform, when you click the gamified learning platform, you get to see drop down of our basic courses that are free. So if you click anyone like general mathematics, you get to see the drop down and pick a topic of your choice. Then we mentioned that it's gamified, right? So you get to play game. You get to play game using the topic you just studied. So that's the gamified features of it. And our other features is, as a user, you can decide to subscribe to the premium version. So when you activate this premium feature of it, you get to have access to our unlimited courses in the platform. So how do we sustain this? Let's talk about the sustainability. I'll call my colleague, Patrick.
Thank you very much for the opportunity given to me. We at Project 114 Play, we have projected that based on a research from the report linker that by 2028, $58.8 billion will be a strategy, is expected to reach a value. That means the gamified strategy is expected to reach a value of $58.8 billion by 2028. Education is ranked as one of the top market segments for gamification in the industry. That is why we are implementing this strategy into our project. And we have to talk about the areas of sustainability. We intend to have a premium access because we have to sustain this business. We intend to have a premium access. Remember, we are going to have a basic platform where they can learn for free. But outside the basic platform, we have a premium access where they can activate, and a stipend will be paid to activate that platform. And also another area of sustainability is the sponsorship and partnership from school management or individuals. Thank you.
We're excited to introduce Project 114 Play, and we look forward to see each and every one of you engage with it once it comes out. Thank you very much.
All right, all right, all right. Put a hand together for them. So this was one of the amazing ideas we received during the hackathon weekend. And as you can see, these guys are well pumped. And just let me give you a tip. These are some of our students at the Decagon Institutes. Put your hands together for them. So it's going around the cycle, right? Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Do I have Team Gold? Do I have Team Gold? Are you ready to pitch your idea? Come off stage. Put your hands together for Team Gold. Amazing, amazing.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Your Excellency. I would like to say it's an honor to be a part of this program. So I'm Abiola Faith Olamide. I'm part of the team I Read project. And here, we are here to pitch our idea on how to solve the problem in the academic sector. And here are my team. I have Aisha Moshood, and I have Nuruddin Alabi and Osadieme Ojo. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, sorry, everyone. So, my name is Alabi Nuruddin. Like she said, I'm here to present the project for I Read. But actually, for me to present the project, I would like to tell a story. So, there is this student. There are 3 students, and the names of the students are Victor, Osamudieme, and Mashoud. These students, like the contemporary student that we have in millions of secondary and primary school in Nigeria, they have this. They maintain this kind of pattern that I call constant routine, school-home constant routine cycle. And what do I mean by that is that these particular students, they go to school normally, they attend the classes, and they copy the notes in the class, and they will go home. So when they go home, they don't read their book. They will just drop their lesson notes. They will not even flinch through the lesson notes. Now, they repeat this cycle every week, week in, week out, for 12 weeks. So they repeat this cycle every week, week in, week out, for 12 weeks. So at the end of the 12th week, this particular set of students, they will want to cram all the lesson notes that they have copied over the 12 week in 1 week. They will want to cram all these lesson notes in 1 week. So as a result of that, this particular set of students, one of them, Usami Demen, is very intelligent, naturally gifted. But the problem is that Usami Demen might be able to cram large amounts of information within 12 weeks. I mean, the large amount of information that Sami Deme has copied over the period of 12 weeks in 1 week. However, Victors and Faith, they don't have that kind of ability to cram large amount of information within that 12 week. So at the end of the day, Sami Deme might be able to perform in school, but 3 of them, they won't be able to maintain a constant academic performances. But on the other side, we have another 2 sets of students. So these students, I call them Jane and Janet. This particular set of students, they read their lesson notes regularly. They read their lesson note regularly, unlike the other 3 I mentioned, and they perform excellently well. So they are motivated to read their book, and whenever there is a need for school to select students to represent the school in any academic activity, these are the set of students that are selected. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, so what we come up with, it's a competition that's going to help each student week in, week out. There will be questions for these students to answer. Questions for students to answer between different schools. So every school that is registered on this application, parents will have a portal available to them. So all the schools that are registered are taking in random questions generated from our system in their various schools, right? As this is going on, the school administrator is logging in winners, right? So the idea is that since the questions are randomly generated, it is transparent. So there's nobody that is in the school that is influencing the questions. And we are using standard questions, right? So we intend to work with Ministry of Education, BC, WAEC, and standard examination bodies so that our questions are standard. The intention is that schools in rural areas that use this feature, we have opportunity to get standard questions. So they are not just within the confines of whatever is going on in their school. They are available to them is the questions that are actually asked anywhere. Mathematics here is mathematics in America, wherever it is. The subjects are the same. So that's the intention, right? So when this occurs, because the questions are coming in weekly, you are motivated to read what you have been taught for the week. So as this continues week in, week out, at the end of the term, we expect to be able to collect a winner and call out the top schools. When we get the top schools, they also come up for a competition together again, which we intend to be awarded. That's actually what we want to go on. So this way, we have a large percentage of the students motivated to read. So even if all of them don't win the prize, next time when we do it again, they'll be motivated more and more to read their books. Now, also, we also intend to make sure this is curriculum tailored. So we're not just giving in the questions anyhow. Before the questions are generated, you have to select the topic that you're going to pick. So the topic for the week that the Ministry of Education has actually modeled is what you actually intend to make use of. And also, we try to see that this is going to serve like a performance tracker. So if students are doing poorly in your subject, the teacher is motivated to say, okay, what am I not doing correctly? That's what we intend to solve. Also, we intend that persons who have, let's say, philanthropists, charitable individuals that want to be able to reward academic excellence by their own selves, they'll be able to use our application. So there's a feature on this application which enables people to randomly generate questions. So if I have this application, all I have to do is click the class I want to set questions for, click the topic, click the subject, and I get random generated questions. You could either decide to print out the questions, or you could decide to send a link to the person to take the exam. So you could take the exam questions on a computer. Right? So that's the solution we are providing. So you can either take up the recurring school quizzes which I've described, or you can instantly generate questions. Okay, so for our market, from our research, we find out that there are 2,108 primary schools in Edo State. Yes, and there are also about 1,258 secondary schools. So we intend using this as our market, and we want to see how we could target primary schools in Benin City first of all, before we proceed to other schools within the state. Also, we also intend that non-governmental organizations such as Rotary Club that organize quizzes periodically for students, that they'll be able to also make use of this application. All right. Yes. So the revenue model for this is that each school is expected to subscribe to the application, right, with a sum of 15,000 naira, and also organizations are expected to subscribe with a sum of 10,000 naira, right? So with this, we believe that we'll be able to also, from this, be able to organize a final competition for those persons who come up tops in the recurrent quizzes we have been doing. All right. Thank you so much. This is the team who came up with this. Thank you so much, everyone.
Put your hands together for them. So there is something about being on stage and seeing a large array of people. There's something it does to you. And this is a learning process, all right? This is a learning process for everyone. Put your hands together for them one more time. So we have the final team presenting for the Education Hackathon. Are you ready? Team FACOD, come on. Put your hands together for Team FACOD. So you have 3 minutes, your problem statements and your solution. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Team FACOD. My name is Faith Aluboy, and with me is Daniel, Osaze, and Charles. We are here to present to you today Track Tutor. Now, what is Track Tutor? Track Tutor is an online platform that connects qualified, professional, and passionate learners with students in the rural communities for quality education through one-to-one home tutoring. Now, what is the problem statement? Through research, we have discovered that students, the 18-to-1 percentage or ratio of students and teachers is very, that it's not okay because there are too many students over just few numbers of teachers. So that is why Track Tutor has come up with this idea, because students tend to lose interest in learning, and that results in poor level of education. And also in rural communities, there are youths that when they are not engaged, they tend to disrupt societal community. So this is why we have come up with Track Tutor. What is our solution? Our solution is to ensure that qualified professionals and vocational tutors are readily available for students in the rural communities, and also for out-of-school students to teach them vocational training that will help build confidence and also help them achieve their academic powers. Now, how are we doing this? We are doing this by, one, as a tutor, when you come to the platform, you don't just become a tutor. We have 3-step verification for you. You register, you go through an assessment, and then you take our virtual interview. You also go through a verification and identification verification before you become a tutor. As a parent or a learner, you register, you find your choice tutor through qualification, through the pricing and the location that is close to you. And then you contact them and you get paired with the tutor, and then you start teaching. Now, who are our target audience? We are targeting teachers, undergraduates. We are targeting business and life coaches, vocational professionals, and artists. Our services are after-school learning support, examination preparation, holiday one-on-one tutoring, homeschooling, and vocational training. Who are our users? Students, youths, parents, and apprentices. So, our pricing model is as low as 1,000 naira, and the platform takes 3 to 5% processing fee. Now, we're making this fee subsidized because we'll be partnering with the government and other organizations to make it cheap for the people in rural community, so that this education will be able to cover a larger number of people in the rural communities. So our market strategy is online and traditional advertising. Next. Okay, so how are we going to sustain this? How are we going to sustain this platform? Through, okay. This platform is designed to be dominant in Edo State. It will be very user-friendly, that anybody, learning or not learning, can be able to use the platform. It will be available to qualified tutors in the rural communities, and affordable quality learning will be provided for people in the rural communities. Thank you. So our competitors are Tutera, Smartify Tutors, and ProTeach. Okay. Our vision is to forge a strong positive connectivity with learners so that they can achieve financial independence while building confidence and achieve academic prowess. Thank you. And our mission is to recruit 5,000 qualified professional tutors in our 5th year of operation. Now, the cost analysis is, okay, domain purchase, cloud hosting, and the rest of it. But how is this platform going to impact the Edo State? How is it going to impact the economy in Edo State? It's going to impact because for, can I go to, yes, using the 4 metrics of economic impact, employment, which is employment, economic output, and household earning with value added, the tutor will create, track tutor will create over 1,000 jobs in Edo State in its 1st year of operation, with prospect to double this number by the 2nd year. Track tutor will contribute 7 million as economic output in its 1st year. Track tutor will generate 630,000 in household earning, and we project track tutor to add a minimum of 4 million naira to the economy of Edo State. Now, in summary, track tutor with the high rate of university graduates, College of Education graduates, and vocational trainees that are graduating every day. Tractor will be a very good platform to engage them while earning as well. Thank you very much.
All right, all right, all right. Put your hands together for track tutors. Thank you, thank you. That was amazing. That was amazing. So you've heard from 3 entries from the hackathon. Trust me, there were a lot more entries from this. There were a lot more ideas that we had to listen to. But we believe that the future of tech in Edo State is bright. And with the ideas that we have currently happening and the ideas that we have implemented here, we believe that the policies will be implemented. We believe that even without you winning, we told you that already, even without you winning, we encourage you. We have the incubation process at the Edo Innovation Hub, and we encourage you to be a part of that process because we believe in your ideas. Thank you very much, and please enjoy the rest of this conference. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we go any further, please, I'd like you to join me to recognize and warmly welcome the Managing Director of Edo State ICTA, Mr. Lucky Igbenedion. Please put your hands together for him. Also join me recognize and welcome the Honorable Commissioner for Arts and Culture, Ministry of Arts and Culture, Prince Bamidele Obaiton. You're welcome, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so we just got in some wonderful news. So His Excellency has just announced 1 million naira each for each participant. So you should be shouting. Good, you should be shouting. Yeah, so each of them get 1 million naira each.
Ladies and gentlemen, up next is the fireside chat on the Startup Act's conversation, delivered by Oswald Osaretin Gwobadia. Mr. Gwobadia is currently the Senior Special Assistant to His Excellency, President Muhammadu Buhari, on digital transformation. He is the lead on Nigeria's Startup Bill, NSB, a project that is strategic to the growth of Nigeria's tech ecosystem and digital economy. He is a member of the Presidential Council on Digital Economy and E-Government. Mr. Gwobadia holds a Master's in Telecommunications from Pace University and Bachelor's in Biology from Wesley College. Please, let's make welcome Oswald Osaretin Gwobadia.
Hello, Edo State. Hello, hello, Edo State. All right. It's really exciting and almost emotional to be up here today, because this is my home, and I'm happy to be here. It's not only my home, it's also my subject, technology, so it's really good. I want to thank the governor for creating this platform and the team that created this platform, my Edo Innovate people for creating this platform. Round of applause, come on. People, be alive. So, I just wanted to say that, one of the critical things that we must understand is that we've just seen three fantastic presentations that actually excited me. I was even offering advice, and that is what is key to the infrastructure side of what's required to complete the digital economy. The digital economy, what we have is what makes Nigeria and Edo State uniquely positioned to take a global leading position in digital economy, is the fact that we have young, intelligent people, we have local problems that need solving, and we have the market, right? We have 200 million people that will test your idea for you. So it's quite possible that, an idea developed here can actually be the next idea that impacts the world, right? So I'll just go through my prepared talk, although it seems boring now after those exciting presentations and after the governor, but I'll do it anyway. So, thank you guys for having me today. It's truly a special day being here today, because I've already said this is home. Today signals the growth of catalyzing conversations to forge public and private partnerships for continued growth for Edo State's tech ecosystem. I'm extremely excited to be part of this initiative, and I greatly commend the government of Edo State for consistently deploying solutions and forging initiatives to create a better environment that will boost innovation and continue to position Edo State as the leading region for tech, innovation, and enterprise solution. So, it's no recent news that the current administration of our dear governor is deeply involved in forging partnerships and developing initiatives to foster the growth and development of the state. The state government has had a keen focus for technology and innovation, which led to the establishment of Edo Innovates, which I actually sit on the board with Uki. I'm excited to be there. In 2018, where over 33,000 youths have undergone training in different areas of data science, artificial intelligence, and cloud computing. As well as the governor mentioned, the Edo Tech Park, where not less than 15,000 software engineers will be trained. The work done by Edo State Skills Development Agency is commendable, and I am truly proud to be an indigene of this state. Now, it feels good, real good, to be back home as a proud product of Akpakpava and Lagos Street. Yeah? That's where my house is, Akpakpava. And it's been better to witness the tremendous amount of growth and development that has happened in Edo State. Growing up through the four walls of University of Benin Staff School, Greater Tomorrow Secondary School, I cannot forget those classes in Emota, the after-school classes. I often wonder what will happen with this our great Edo State. I want you to see that state has developed those years and on her way to attaining exponential growth. Technology fails. So, Edo State is one of the few states in the forefront of digital innovation in Nigeria. And I believe that the Nigerian Startup Act serves as a means to boost this growth. For those who may not know, the Nigerian Startup Act is a joint initiative by the Presidency of Nigeria and the tech ecosystem to harness the potential of the digital economy through co-created policies and regulations, putting an end to seemingly lack of regulatory certainty and support that startups are presently faced with. For the first time, Nigerians have a law that is a product of a collaborative effort between government and industry stakeholders. I would like to give 3 reasons why each and everyone present here must be involved in the activities of the Nigerian Startup Act. One, the growth of the Nigerian economy. The Nigerian Startup Act is crucial for the next phase of growth and advancement for the Nigerian economy. It makes a strong statement that each tech-enabled startup are pivotal to our economic growth and stability as a nation, and must therefore be given a practical and meaningful platform to thrive. Two, startups will have regulatory certainty. Laws affecting startups will be clear, as startups now have a regulatory framework to guide their operations with regulatory certainty in place. Investor confidence will also increase, which means a rise in Nigeria's foreign direct investments. And third, there will be an enabling business environment with adequate infrastructure provided. This will ensure that startups in Nigeria have a fledgling economy to operate in. There will also be transparent processes, fees, and requirements, which will make planning much easier for stakeholders. I'm almost done, I promise. Like I said earlier, I am of the belief, and this is something I believe deeply, that the next big idea to impact the world will be developed in an African village or city. Please, let's keep this secret. It's a big secret just in this room. When I say this, and I've said this in several places, I said in Rwanda last week, DRC last week, I really meant those states. That's what was in my chest, right? I'm thinking about every time I declare this statement, that enabling government and a thriving ecosystem, I truly believe the next big innovation can be birthed in those states. If you believe this, please signify by showing your hands and saying yes. In order to make this belief a reality, there's a need for Edo State to adopt the act. I must take a segue here to say His Excellency has already said he will. So this speech was written before we had our conversation. So Edo State will adopt the Startup Act. So I'll stop there. There's much more, but I'll let my my co-conspirator for the afternoon come up, and we can have our conversation.
Coming on stage to moderate this conversation is Blessing Ajimoti. She is the Edo State Coordinator and Policy Advisor of the Pro-Poor Growth and Promotion of Employment in Nigeria, SEDIN program. SEDIN is a program of the German Agency for International Cooperation, GIZ, and its objective is to improve the income and employment situation of MSMEs. SEDIN does this through partnerships with the public and private sectors to improve the framework conditions and legal and regulatory frameworks for an enabling business environment. Blessing holds a Master of Public Policy from Oxford, is an alumna of the World Economic Forum's Global Shapers Community and the United States government's Mandela Washington Fellowship. Blessing volunteered with the Nigeria Startup Bill Secretariat. Make welcome Blessing Ajimoti.
Woohoo! Thank you very much. Your Excellency, good afternoon, sir. All existing protocols duly observed. The Nigeria Startup Act. Finally, a piece of legislation in this country that provides the legal and regulatory framework for the growth of tech-enabled startups in Nigeria. I am really delighted to be here. I am delighted to be alive and in this startup ecosystem when this Startup Act is in existence. It is my honor and pleasure to be on this fireside chat this afternoon and to be in conversation with the project lead of the Nigerian Startup Act and also the Senior Special Assistant to Nigeria's President on digital transformation. Just to set the cadence for the flow of our conversation today, we are going to have a bit of a Q&A between ourselves, and then we will open up questions to the audience so you can have an opportunity to ask your questions and also perhaps make some observations regarding the Nigeria Startup Act. And first we're going to look at the Startup Act generally at the national, federal level, and then slowly zoom in to what that means, what the implications are for the EdoTech startup ecosystem. Just to formally introduce the topic of this conversation, it's simply the Nigeria Startup Act implications for Edo State. Great. So we're going to, Mr. Oz, we're just going to go look at or explore some of the aspects of the Nigeria Startup Act briefly. So we look at the national, what's obtainable at the national level, as I said earlier, and then slowly we make our way to our state here, Edo State. So one of the things you mentioned just while you were giving your keynote was the issue of regulatory uncertainty. And as someone who has spoken to a lot of friends and colleagues and all the other ecosystem players around what the Nigeria Startup Act means, so a lot of times they say things like, oh, but then the Startup Act does not provide for X, it does not provide for Y. But then I said, but thankfully, it's why we have the Council for Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship to make up for such issues. So I would like you, sir, to talk about the role of the Council of Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship, the role that it plays in driving this regulatory uncertainty, and perhaps if you could also give us practical scenarios, maybe one or two, of the kinds of issues that this Council on Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship will look at in their role as part of the delivery mechanism for the Nigeria Startup Act.
Okay, thank you for that. So what I tell people, and I hope some people here have read the Act, is available on the website, and also there's a summary, which in case you don't want to read legal documents, there's a summary to help you digest it. That when you look at the Act, there are 5 things, 5 perspectives you should have in mind. The first one is collaboration. The second one is engagement. The middle one is incentives. You have linkages, and then you have support. Now, the council, what you just asked me about, is in collaboration, right? One of the key problems in the ecosystem, and we now look at the ecosystem a bit differently. If you asked me a few years ago who's the ecosystem, I will bang on my chest. Having been entrepreneurial in Nigeria for over 17 years, I'm the ecosystem. But now that I'm a policymaker, I now realize that the ecosystem is made up of policymakers and practitioners. And it's in that interaction that the value is created. So, what you now have is this unique problem. And the problem is, the disruptor, which is the practitioners, they're out there to disrupt. It's actually very exciting. Oh, I want to change how education is done. I want to change how light bulbs are done. I want to change how chairs are made. You know, they intend to disrupt what is existing. That is fantastic. I advise and invest in that all day, right? We just saw 3, and that was really, really great. What the policymaker sees is not disruption. The policymaker sees displacement. Something has changed. Something has changed in my economy, something has changed in my environment, and I don't understand it. So, what that now does is that if you apply this disruption, displacement to almost every single action you've seen happen in Nigeria, you will see what happened. Basically, these guys are doing a startup, the policymaker sees some change, shuts it down. Now, what we now believe is critical is collaboration and a conversation between both parties, both sides of the ecosystem, which will now increase that conversation and will be able to map out when value will be delivered. So today you disrupt XYZ, but in 6 months to a year, you're able to multiply the value because you have now shown us efficiencies that we never saw, and you have now built in a value-creating model that will now replace what we were holding on to. Because one thing you have to understand is the policymaker's job is to protect what exists, not to vision and dream. Policymaker, their visions and dreams is exciting. For instance, Edo State, our policymakers are visionaries and have dreams. right? But the policymakers' number one priority is to safeguard people and what exists through development of policies and regulation. Now, to move this quickly to your question, I had to set that foundation. The council falls directly under this collaboration. You have a grouping of people that sits Mr. President and Mr. Vice President, intentional, not one or the other, both of them. You have some key ministers like finance, trade and investment, and communication, digital economy. Some key policy position makers like CBN, all sitting in the same council, about 8 of them. And then you have private sector practitioners, 6 of them, that are now going to engage each other on agendas that have been set. So an agenda may be set, for example, give you an example, the one that is really big across Africa right now is entrepreneurial visas. How do I come to Nigeria and how do I work in Nigeria? So if that is seen as an issue, now, I usually picture this, I usually have this in my mind as a picture, so I start drawing things in the air. But what you have is a council sitting above. You have a secretariat that drives the work of the council, and then you have a consultative forum that is made up of the practitioners, the funders, the founders sit in this box, and they have a day-to-day interaction with the secretariat to help develop the agenda for the council. So, my example, immigration visa. Immigration visa comes into the consultative forum as an issue. Some impact analysis is done as to what the benefits to Nigeria will be if we're able to give immigration visas a lot easier. That conversation happens with the secretariat. It becomes an agenda for the council. The council is presented on the impacts and benefits of giving easier immigration visas. The president gives a directive, it's done. Right? So that directive is given to immigration. Right? So that sort of answers the broad question of why don't you have this, why don't you have that, and getting into those details of having so many things. But what the bill does is it creates a legal framework for government to come closer to this sector. And the other question we get, you probably won't ask it yet, I'll just go ahead and answer it, is why this sector, right? It's deliberate. This is the fastest growing sector globally, and we have the tools to succeed and take a lead position in it.
Thank you very much. I would like us to move on to the issue of complementarity and synergy. Yes, so I'm just curious what your thoughts are on how the existence of this act, if there are opportunities for synergy between the Nigerian Startup Act and other business enabling environment initiatives. So for instance, the PEBEC initiatives within the presidency, and like what these synergies are, if you've been able to identify any.
So, the very first step that we did in creating the act was to review the entire landscape of laws and rules in the country. And then we went, supranational, went the continent, and then looked in the globe what the laws and rules are out there. So the act is uniquely positioned. So that's the second box I spoke about, engagement, right? The act is positioned to engage other parties. So you mentioned PEBEC. We don't have any, PEBEC improves what we're trying to do, right? So what we say is that for this particular sector, intentional and deliberate, we want government to pay special attention, right? We want all the agencies that service this sector to be at standstill on the portal, waiting to service this sector. And what PEBEC says is that do it better, right? What other laws and rules may say how you do it. We don't really take powers from any other organization. We kind of exist in a way to just improve the services, the regulation making, and the interaction with government for this particular sector.
Thank you very much. So one of the things that I did before coming here was to crowdsource some of my questions. And apparently, some of our partners are interested in the Startup Investment Seed Fund. As you know, access to finance is a significant challenge, not even just for tech startups alone, but also for other categories of businesses. And I'm just curious about how this Startup Investment Seed Fund, a provision that is in the Nigeria Startup Act, how it's going to work for the growth of startups in terms of access to funding.
So the seed fund is a very popular one. I got a call about the seed fund in the afternoon that the act actually was signed. How about that seed fund? How do we access it? So the seed fund is going to be managed by the NSIA, right? We specifically chose the NSIA because this is what they do. The way we envision the seed fund working is that government has committed to put about 10 billion naira, I almost said dollars, but it's naira, in the seed fund annually. And what would happen is that in fact, it's not even a speculation. We've been already approached by a number of organizations, and we hope the organizations here today actually step up to the plate and also commit to helping to raise the seed fund. What we see the seed fund will end up being is NSIA will manage that fund, and it also end up being a fund of funds, right? Other smaller funds will be seeded off of it. But ultimately, it will be a fund that would do seed funding for early stage startups, and also hubs and incubators. It provides sort of the support, which is the fifth bucket, from a financial perspective, to startups. But you know what I like to always say after that is that, you know, a lot of times money is not the issue. Hey, I'm not a startup person, so it's not like I'm saying money is not the issue because I have $1 billion sitting already. But what I mean to say is that, you know, sometimes your business model could break because you're waiting for government processes to meet what you need to get. So your business model you could have the track, you know, runway, but you could burn through your runway waiting for approval. So some of the real wins in this act is the linkages that are created. Linkages into CBN when it comes to CIC. How do you get your money out after you invested? And Naira has done a thing, and dollar has done a thing. You know, linkages into exports, linkages into research, tax incentives on doing research, right? So there's a number of seeds that are in there, and you know, when you look through that, you will see the seed funding is just, you know, even incentives is really the collaboration, engagement, and the linkages that really are the real value.
Thank you very much. I know that His Excellency mentioned that Edo State is going to be adopting the Startup Act. And so I'm just curious, why is it important for states to actually adopt the Startup Act? So we're slowly now coming to Edo State. So why is it important to adopt the Startup Act? And what do states need to do? So states like Edo, what do we need to do to get the Startup Act operational?
Those states will adopt the Nigerian Startup Act. Yeah. Newsflash. So, I would say to you this. If you look around, you know, recently I was asked the question, why a Startup Act? I turned around and said, look around. It's not a complete answer, but, you know, it's almost like a direction. Yeah. If you look at some of the issues that startups have, they are at the state level. Yeah. Not too many are federal. Yeah. At federal, you keep hearing maybe 2 particular agencies issue this. It's mostly fintech. But every other kind of startup has issues at the state level. Yeah. So to really drive that fabric of innovation across the country, it's important that states adopt and implement their version of the Nigerian Startup Act. That's one. 2, if you look at any climate that we admire, you will see that a lot of the states compete on policy, not infrastructure, not resources, but policy, right? I ask this question all the time, what's the difference between these 3 states in America? And you know, you realize that it's not infrastructure because all 3 states have infrastructure, right? It's not access to talented people because all 3 states have access to talented people. People are moving around. It's the policies that exist in that state. That's what makes it Silicon Valley. That's what makes a Miami now attractive. That's what makes it Silicon Alley. It's the policies that are in place that makes those states attractive. So we believe that down the road, you know, somebody could be from Nasarawa, but they may be attracted to the fact that the policies in those states is where they want to do their business because the policies matches their business. So that's the hope.
Thank you. Well, I work as a policy advisor, and a lot of the conversations that we have in my office and also with partners is the importance of actually domesticating federal policies. And so having a version, just like you said, of that federal policy in the states, because at the end of the day, if, for instance, an investor wants to come, for instance, it's still the states who have to facilitate the investment. And so if the processes, the laws, the rules are not right, then it just makes it difficult for this. Still back to one of the perspectives you mentioned, this linkage or this complementarity or this synergy between what's happening at the federal level and what happens, what's obtainable at the state level. Just to quickly remind the members of the audience that you're still going to have an opportunity to make your observations about the Startup Act or our conversation here, and also to ask your questions if there are any that you'd like to ask or receive answers to this afternoon. Yes, I am a bit curious. Knowing what you know and perhaps what you can share, since the president signed the act into law on October the 19th, are there things you can share in terms of implementation of what's already perhaps in the works or perhaps what's already been implemented as a way of starting to actually achieve the objectives of the Startup Act?
So, we're going into phase 2 of the Nigerian Startup Act program, and phase 2 is made up of 2 parts. First part is the actual implementation, which is ongoing, and resources are being put in place to guarantee sustainability of the implementation. Because one of the things you have to think about is that government is about to change, right? So it's critical that the implementation sustains through that, and ultimately takes hold, and it's a law, but it's a law. Law is just on paper, right? It needs humans to give it breath and life. So to continue to have those humans, and taking cognizance of the fact that you have the government that stays and the government that leaves. And I'm the government that leaves. The government that stays would have to take it on and finish it. So that's one. And then the second part, which is what we spoke about earlier, which is state adoption. And a number of states have mentioned that they're interested in adopting the act. Edo State has done so today, and a number of other states, Lagos, Zamfara, Yobe, Ekiti, to name a few, have already started. Kaduna has a draft already. So there's a few states that are already in the process, and once again, election is delaying that process. But we see it as a 12 to 24-month program, and I think your initial question, you asked how. It's pretty much what happened on a national, what happened on a state-to-state basis. Interesting enough, Blessing was a volunteer for the Nigerian Startup Bill, so she knows intimately what happened. We had over 200 plus volunteers, and it's to create that program smaller in multiple states. And once again, we're looking for partners.
Thank you. I'm going to ask one more question, and then we're going to open up to questions and comments from the audience. So this question is about talents and skills. One of the core areas of focus for His Excellency, and it's something he mentioned when he was just giving a speech, is on employment promotion, job creation. And I'm really curious about how the Startup Act would help enable this in Nigeria. What's the plan?
So, we talk about job creation, we talk about employment, we talk about training, we talk about Jakpa, which is the key aspect to all of it. And a lot of times we forget that Jakpa to Lagos was the original Jakpa. Yeah. So the act itself speaks strongly to training. It says a lot about partnering with the NUC to train our young people. We believe that we have to train faster than we're losing people. The young people are our greatest resource. We hear this all the time, and the Act recognizes that. And there's a lot of provisions in there about developing training programs, supporting incubators, hubs, tech villages, to provide not only the training, but the space for them to work in, right? So that is sort of the strategy from the document, but a lot of this needs to be driven by policy that builds off of the Act. That's what the Act sort of does. It creates the opportunity for that collaborative understanding of what's needed to train our people, keep them engaged, and help them create their visions into actualizing them.
Thank you very much. Over now to the audience. Do we have members of the audience who have questions, comments, or any observations they'd like to make? If you've got a question, please raise your hand. Where is our colleague who is assisting with the microphones? Okay. Please, if you've got a question, raise your hand. Okay, I think we're going to start this way and then work our way to the left side of the room. Or is it the right side of the room now? Okay, yes, please.
Asamoto.
Please go ahead with your questions. Is our asker ready? Okay.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, the first question, I have two questions particularly. This council you were talking about, right? This council you were talking about, you said something about it entailing the people involved in council. You're talking about the president, the...
Can you please come to the front?
All right, thank you very
Since
much.
we're barely able to hear you.
All right. I said this council you were talking about, you made mention of a couple of people who were involved in council.
Yes.
And it seemed more more around the presidency, and it's, should I say, the people in the presidency. Now, does this council take account for every startup being brought into Nigeria, like every startup being built in Nigeria?
Okay. Are you saying that the council is government-centric?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then your second question was, will it take account for all startups
in Nigeria?
Okay. So, to the first question, I would say it's not government-centric because it's an 8-to-6 mix, right? There's 8 government people and 6 private sector people, right? And then you have to remember it's a law, so it's a government council. But what the government council is doing is collaborating with the private sector to discuss and then come to a solution for the problems of, not always a problem, but to drive this ecosystem. So it gives it attention. It's almost like you are bringing a ceiling lower and focusing the light on this ecosystem. So that's what the council is intended to do, right? And then your second question, I think what you have to read in the act is that it says tech-enabled, right? So I think maybe only, this is maybe because I'm now in the startup conversation, it's only now that I've ever had the idea of who a startup is challenged from what we always think a startup is when you think Silicon Valley and all these guys. So in the act, there's a definition of a startup. It's creating digital innovation, which is tech-enabled. And there are other requirements that speak to becoming a labeled startup in Nigeria. But your business has to be tech-enabled, right? So we leave it, there's some room there for you to use tech in your business to make you tech-enabled.
Right, thank you very much. Now, the second one is this. Okay, with the amount of startups being built in Nigeria currently, and how long would it take for this council to deliberate on a particular startup?
Excuse me for a second. How many startups do you think there is in Nigeria?
A lot, and more people are getting into the startup ecosystem.
Let me do this. So, I think, all right. So you have a council, right? The council is not deliberating on every single startup, right? What the council is deliberating on is the agenda that is set in front of them, right? Every single startup that becomes a label startup, right, will sit in a consultative forum where you guys will discuss. So that's one reason why you need to adopt in every state. So you don't have to, you're going virtual, and now be a whole bunch of people. But imagine if Edo Consulting Forum is, I don't know, 50 startups. In those 50 startups, you can say these are our 2 issues, right? And those 2 issues can move to the National Consulting Forum, where they say now these are 10 issues. These 10 issues can be vetted. Now we have 5 issues that we want to put forth in front of Mr. President. So some of the powers of the council is that no regulation or policy can be developed on this particular sector without it being reviewed by the council. So you have to move your mind from, it's not a passageway where every startup will pass through. It's a deliberation body that sits over the issues that may be pinching you in Benin, right? Do you have a better...
Hey, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Because we are pressed for time, we're going to allow for 2 more questions. And yes, and you please ask your question in 30 seconds. 30 seconds, please.
Good day, Mr. Oswald and Ms. Blessing. Mr. Oswald, please, you spoke about partnership. I wasn't very clear about the type of partnership you are desiring. Is it about the startup or specifically for what? People to partner with you on what and why?
Interesting.
You almost think I paid for that question. So that particular question was to our partners above here. As in, I think one of the things that's been said about the Nigerian Startup Act is one of the fastest acts that has gone through the government in Nigeria, and not just the fastest, but also it was collaborative. And one of the reasons why that was the case is because we had partners, right? We did events with GIZ, we did events with FCDO, we partnered with people, both technical partnerships and actual funding. So this is a government event. People who put this event know that to do this thing, it took approvals. I didn't have to do that because I had partners that funded a lot of things, right? So that added to the speed. That's really the secret, right? It's not too much beyond that. But that aside, as I already said, the Nigerian Startup Bill, when it was a bill, had over 200 volunteers. We had people who did newsletters. I mean, if you go look up or sign up for a newsletter, there was a newsletter every week. Every time I saw a new one to review, I was pleasantly shocked. I'm like, who are these human beings? Are they in the same Nigeria with me? Creating newsletters every day, every week, having articles, writing speeches. The one I read today was written for me. I reviewed it. I changed it to make it more applicable. But there are people excited to give of their time. So in that kind of situation, we need you. The act is not for me. It's for you guys, right? So what is required is your participation. And participation ranges, right? That's why I stopped my speech, because there was a part where I was going to say, all right, hold your governor right now. So I had to stop, right? Because we are very aggressive about ensuring states adopt the act. So I stopped my speech before I got to the part where I was going to have all of you come and hold Excellency's leg to ensure that he agrees to adopt the act. So everybody in this room should be a partner, right? Everybody in this room should be concerned about the Nigerian Startup Act. Everybody in this room should read the Nigerian Startup Act. Everybody in this room should have a set of provisions in the Nigerian Startup Act that they are talking about in their house, in their bear parlor, that this is the one that excites them. This is the one that must be implemented. Everybody in this room should demand from the political class that the Nigerian Startup Act is implemented and implemented fully. That's the only way to work. So yes, I need that kind of partnership as well. We need that kind of partnership.
Thank you very much. Okay, final question, yes.
Okay, thank you very much for clearing the air on some issues. So I'm interested in the implementation of the Startup Act. I want to know, is it going to be federal-centric, something that is coming from the presidency, it must come from there before it comes down to the state? Or is it something that will be distributed? What I mean by distributed, I mean the provisions or the implementation will be state-based so that it can come down to the people that actually need to participate in the provisions of the Act. Thank you.
Yes. That's the answer, yes. So we intend to adopt the act to every state. Implementation of the federal act will happen at the federal level. Adoption and implementation of the Edo State Act will happen at your assembly here and be signed by His Excellency. So the idea is that the act is local. It'll be a version. It'll be a version that works with Edo State. Because every state has their strategy on how they want to implement technology, digital economy in their states. So the act should work with that idea, right? So Ekiti has their own plan. Kaduna has their own, right? Edo State has their own. You have Decagon, you have Tech Village, you have, at the end of the day, I'm listening to all the plans. They all kind of sound the same. But every state will have their own caveats and their own things they want to add to it to make it a little different. So yes, the idea is that every person is able to touch the act.
Yes, thank you. And
Or the act is able to touch you.
Yes, and just to quickly add to that, so the act, even though it's not yet adopted at the state level or at the level of Edo State, for instance, whenever startups still interact with the federal government agencies that are based in the state, so there's still opportunities to access the opportunities within the act through these federal agencies. But the goal, as Mr. Oswald said, is to have the state adopt the Startup Act so that we can have a version that is suitable for the context that we've got here. My final question, or maybe the penultimate one. I am a policy advisor, and my focus mostly is on MSMEs. Of course, we also support startups, and whether they're tech-enabled or they're not tech-enabled. And my question is on positive externalities. Positive externalities. Are there opportunities that you think, just by looking at the Startup Act, that would be maybe positive spillover effects on non-tech-enabled startups in Nigeria because the Nigerian Startup Act exists? So do you think that there are any positive externalities for regular MSMEs or other categories of businesses that are not tech-enabled just because the Startup Act exists? Yes.
There are actually several. So I would say, when I first spoke earlier, I spoke about the fact that we have a better understanding of what the ecosystem is. And that idea has been pushed to the ecosystem practitioners, that they're not alone in the ecosystem, that they must ensure that they are partnering and engaging their policymakers. So that in itself is a learning. The idea of understanding that, what the practitioner is doing versus what the policymaker is seeing is a root cause to a lot of problems. That's understanding that's already bearing fruits. Because, every day there's a new issue that is brought to me, CBN wants to, SEC said no, and, you go into these battles with the sword drawn out. So it's now guiding the conversation, because you go in there and it's not really antagonistic. It's more so, what were you trying to achieve? What did you see? Oh, that's what you saw. Okay, when would you solve that problem? And it kind of draws a line to when, we can find a middle ground and a policy that will work. What the learnings have done and what the Act would do is, help us with policies and regulations that have innovation in mind, right? And it's that partnership and collaboration that will make that happen. Now, those aside, there are direct benefits from what the Act, although the Act is very focused on the sector, there are a number of things in the Act that does not just speak to the sector, but speaks to improving the general business environment. So if I was to improve research in schools and make that linkage between young entrepreneurs and research in universities or training universities, that would directly benefit the entire business environment, right? If we increase training of tech people, that way will push the number of humans into the workforce. And there are a number of other things that would once done, would impact business in general. So in totality, there's a positive impact when implemented fully.
Thank you very much. By way of a quick wrap-up, I would leave you with the perspectives that he has shared. So the 5 perspectives in the Nigerian Startup Act, if you do not remember anything today, is that one of them is collaboration, engagement, incentives, linkages, and support. But then we can only fully leverage the opportunities that are presented within the Startup Act if it is adopted at the state level and we collaborate with the government and other tech ecosystem stakeholders towards the implementation of the Act. With that, I wish you all a great afternoon. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If you're just joining us and you would like to use the convenience, kindly speak to any of our protocols. If you would like to have some food, we have food vendors outside the building. Kindly note, if you are the owner of these vehicles, you are needed to park properly. APP 170BL. APP 170BL. AGD 489EA. AGD 489EA. And EPE 713BP. EPE 713BP. Kindly park properly. Up next is how to achieve product market fit with Princess Edo Osage. Princess Edo Osage is passionate about using technology to solve everyday problems. A DevOps advocate, payment expert, agile coach with over 14 years experience in the fintech industry. She is currently the group head, product leadership and agile governance team at InterSwitch Group. Princess Edo Osage holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Computer Science and Information Technology, and beyond her passion for technology, she is an avid adventurer, lifelong learner, enjoys teaching children, and plays video games. Please welcome Princess Edo Osage.
Good afternoon. So my name is Princess, and my parents decided that they needed to append Edo State to my surname because sometimes I look Akwa Ibom or Chinese. Okay, let's see how this works. Okay, so my topic today is talking about achieving product market fit. But before I would like to start, I grew up in Port Harcourt, and there's a product in Port Harcourt I like. It's food, by the way, and it's called bole and fish, right? And that's what we know in Port Harcourt. But when I moved to Lagos and I was looking for bole and fish, I couldn't find any. What I found was bole and groundnut, and I couldn't understand it. So because of my background, I realized that the bole and groundnut product in Lagos was not a fit for the market for me. So again, those are the things we need to worry about when building products. You have to understand the product, and you also have to understand the market. So a little bit of statistics here. The number one reason why startups fail is misreading the market demand. Just like in the bole situation, going to Port Harcourt with bole and granite and expect that your product is going to move is going to be a big problem. The second largest reasons why startups fail is due to running out of funding. And I think somebody mentioned that earlier today, because most startups don't have enough financial runway to be able to keep running. So the question we have for ourselves then is, how do we get learnings from these insights that we know today? Because this is not just local statistics, but it's global statistics too. Sorry, I need help with this. Okay. All right. So I try to highlight some of the top reasons we see today around the world why products fail. Products doesn't solve the right problem. You pick the wrong market for your product. Your product is too expensive and does not provide any value to your customers. Your business case is flawed. And again, these are just some of the reasons. So my focus today is to identify some of the things you can look at when coming up with a product. And because this is a tech conference, our focus is on tech products. So the first thing around product market fit is that by default, we all have ideas and you could come up with a product, but you have to be sure that whatever you're doing is going to fit into the markets that you're targeting. So I'll just be walking us through different steps companies typically go through to ensure that they have product market fit. Because the essence of what we are trying to achieve with your product is to be able to get customers to be able to use your product and buy it from you, because that's why you're in business. So there are 6 main things that you need to worry about when it comes to tech products, and I'll start with the first. The first thing you need to pay attention to is called your target audience. What we find today when we talk to a lot of product managers is that product managers have what I call surface understanding of their audience, and they don't spend enough time sitting down to think through who your actual target audience is. So I was quite impressed by the teams who presented from the hackathon, how they were able to put down their thoughts around who their target audience was. So sometimes I wake up and I said, okay, I want to solve a big problem. If we wanted to, again, let's use the education sector as an example. If we wanted to solve a problem in the education sector today, the question would be, who will be our target audience? Today we know that a lot of people have jackpot, which is the students are leaving. Teachers are also leaving. So there's a big gap we have today in terms of teaching. So as Princess, if I wanted to go into the education tech space, I would like to narrow down my target audience to who I'm solving the problem for. If I'm passionate about teachers, which I am because my mom is a teacher, my target audience may be teachers. And how do I upskill teachers in this day and age to be able to meet the demands of not enough teachers that we have today? So the first thing is your target audience. So regardless of whatever sector you are facing, whether it's edutech, whether it's fintech, whether it's farm tech or health tech, you need to be very specific and have deep understanding of your target audience. So the question is how? How do you go about identifying your target audience? It's very simple, but it's very hard, because a lot of people like to sit down in their rooms and come up with ideas, but for you to narrow your target audience, you need to do a little bit of research. So who are the players in the space I am talking about today? If I'm in the education sector, is my target audience the teachers? Is it the students? And when you go down the road of facing students, what particular segments of students am I targeting? Is my target secondary school students? Is my target people who are about to leave school? So that you are solving a unique problem for your target audience. If you miss your target audience and not define it properly, you may be solving a general problem that may not have the impact that you want. And picking your target audience fundamentally determines the kind of product you will build. If you are building a product for Gen Z, you will be building something different from a product if you were building for millennials. So you need to pay attention to your target audience. And the advice I would like to give here, especially for startups, is that when you are starting up, you don't need to worry too much about the large audience. You need to pick a segment try to solve the problem there first before you can scale it. So again, your target audience is critical for you to identify. I would recommend is the first thing you identify before you go down this journey. The next thing, once you've narrowed down to your target audience, is to identify the problem that audience has. People will tell you, identify the underserved need. And sometimes these things are hard to find, but you have to literally go out of your way. So if I wanted to solve a problem for students, journey of finding students in the age brackets that I want to solve that problem for and have conversations with them. You can do this by interviews. You can do this by having surveys, which most people do. But it's absolutely critical for you to have real customer insights on the segment you want to solve the problem for. Most times we sit in our rooms, we have an idea, the next thing we are building it out, but you haven't had one conversation with your target audience. And there's something powerful in sitting in front of somebody who has a problem and seeing how they are solving that problem today. So the second thing you need to do at this point is, again, come up with your problem statements. I like to call these clarifying questions. They are questions you can ask yourself to say, what is the end benefit to this particular user segment? I know a lot of us don't like to write things down, but asking yourselves questions helps you put your thought process down. Why does this customer want this outcome? It's absolutely critical. You need to put yourself in the customer's shoes, not the solution you are trying to build. Why does the user want this particular outcome? Is there a particular thing that is missing? And what gaps exist in the markets today, and how is this customer solving the problem? So as startups and as organizations who are building products, you need to make sure you spend time defining your problem statement. Again, shout out to the guys who presented earlier. They came up with interesting problem statements. So once we are done with the problem statements, we need to ask ourselves, what is that tagline that the minute somebody sees it, they understand what you are selling? It's typically called the value proposition, and the goal here is to ensure you have a clear statement or need that you are solving for your customer. A typical example for Apple would be the experience is the product. Everybody knows that Apple phones are expensive, and they are priced that way because they spend a lot of time in design. So again, creating your value proposition to ensure that you have that tagline for your product is absolutely critical. The fourth step is then taking a step back to say, now that I'm clear on my target audience, now that I'm clear on the problem I want to solve, I'm also clear on the value proposition. How do I get insights from the market as to what people are doing about this problem today? Again, most times, people do a lot of surface investigation, not deep understanding. So there's a lot of research that you have to do when it comes to understanding what makes you stand out. So to be able to do this, you need to take out time to do research. Unfortunately for us, we are in the age of information. Information is everywhere. 20 years ago, that wasn't the case. People didn't have access to information. But right now, the internet is free, and you have access to news blog sites. And the recommendation here is that for the product that you have identified and the problem you want to solve, we expect that you take out time to identify 2 or 3 direct competitors that are building similar products. So if, for example, you are in the space of education, which other company in your local environment is solving that same problem? I also recommend people to go beyond their local area and go to maybe a different continent or a different country to figure out how people are solving these problems. Because one thing I've learned over the years is that the challenges you're having, somebody else has had it before and has solved it already, so you might as well learn from their experience. So again, competitor analysis, as they call it in big English, is one of the things you need to do. But the end game here is not just to analyze the competitor and see what the competitor is doing. The goal is for you to take a step back and say, since I want to solve this problem, how do I ensure I have something unique and different from the rest, because why would somebody leave competitor A to come to me? There has to be something special. So it gives you insight on what your competitors are doing. Some of the techniques I like to use here is what I call reverse engineering the business model. What that does is that you could take a company, maybe Twitter, and you could build their business model backward based on what you know now. And it helps you to get insights to the pricing, how they charge, how they market their product. So again, going through this process helps you as a startup or as an individual to understand what's out there in the market. But again, the goal is for you to find out that thing that makes you stand out fundamentally, because without it, customers won't move. The next thing, which we don't pay attention to also, is that we never spend time to figure out how are we going to get new customers on board. I like to play video games, and I like to play games. And what you would see in the gaming industry is that they have put things into the product that makes it, I don't call it impossible. You either have to pay to go forward, or you have to invite your friend to come to the platform so you can go forward. It's an intentional approach to acquiring customers. So once you've gone through the process and you've gotten to this stage, you need to ask yourself, how would my new customers get to know about my product? What channels am I going to use to attract these customers? If your target market is students, how do you engage students? What channels are you going to use? If your target market is in rural areas, does it mean I have to have a sales team? So again, the answers to these questions come down to what you are building and the target customers that you are attracting. So what you have here is an example of Candy Crush. How many of us love Candy Crush game? And what you see is that they deliberately made it, when they first started back then, you could invite your friends from Facebook onto Candy Crush, which gave them access to over 1.5 billion users on Facebook, which made them grow rapidly. So again, building in these techniques into your product on how you attract customers to your product is absolutely critical. The next thing which sometimes happens is that people, so I had a conversation a couple of years ago. I had one fantastic idea, and I was talking to someone, and he was saying, Princess, how do you want to make money? I'm like, I'm not interested in making money. And he said, no, you can't say that. You are a business, and you are solving a problem. You need to think up front how you intend to make money. So I put up this slide to show what some of the big companies do in terms of monetization. The goal here is for you to take time out to ask yourself the question, how do I make money? And it's not just about how do you make money, it's also about the customer. How much is the customer willing to pay? In the video games that I play today, I get to a point and I stop buying because I've spent so much money playing video games. But at a point, I was willing to pay X amount of money so that I can advance to the next level. So in whatever product that you're building, you need to ensure you've taken out time to figure out your monetization strategy. You see companies like Alphabet is mostly ads. They make their money from ads. Companies like Twitter predominantly make their money from ads, but they also have the Twitter Blue, which allows you to pay some money every year. So they've segmented their market, and they realized they couldn't charge the whole world $1 every month, which is why they gave part of it free, but they make their money elsewhere. So up front, you need to think through the approach to monetizing your product, and also don't just look at revenue. Ask yourself, what features of this product is the customer willing to pay? And if your product is a product that is focused on businesses, there are different approaches versus focused on consumer products. So again, you need to do some research to understand how to charge your customers. Again, Candy Crush here, as I explained earlier, how they make their money. Beyond being free, you are asked to pay to buy extra lives or moves, or you invite your friends. So again, it's intentionally built into the product from day one. So those are the things you need to worry about. All right, so once you're done walking through these things, I like to recommend to people to put things down so that you can always reference it later. There are many models out there that help you put down on paper the different things that you've learned on the journey of trying to define your product. So this is just an example of a lean business case canvas that you can fill out once you've answered all those questions. You keep it as a reference point as you're going on your journey of building, because the journey of building a product doesn't start and stop, it's a journey. So what happens next? Okay, so now that we're clear on these key areas of things you need to worry about when building a product, the question is, what next? So I like to call these the three main things you need to do after you're clear on your product. So we are clear on our customers, we have come up with the idea, we have figured out how we want to make money. The next thing you need to do is to build a version of your product to be able to test that idea out. I remember in secondary school when we're doing physics and chemistry assignments, and they'll tell us to go to the lab and run experiments, and they told us to mix certain things together and something will happen. Sometimes that didn't quite work as it should. So the lesson here is that building products is tricky. Those ideas you had are valid, but you need to test them out and see how the market responds. So running what I call experiments to build a version of your product to see how the users would react to your product, and taking insights quickly on what that experiment is critical. And just to let you know, those experiments, some may fail and blow up in your face. It's okay, you just need to ask yourself, what did I learn from this entire process, and how can I pivot or preserve the product that I'm building? So again, applying techniques of building the version of the product, taking it to market, learning from real-life customers, and then measuring and see if you're actually heading in the right directions. You'll be surprised that some of the products that are very popular today started out with a completely different idea, but ended up in a completely different zone. I think Slack was that way. So again, don't worry too much. Some experiments will blow up in your face, but you get learnings, and some experiments may be successful. What you don't see is that a lot of companies run a lot of experiments behind the scenes before launching their product, but you only see the product that was successful, but there may be 10,000 experiments that failed. So again, don't give up on this journey of building amazing products, because technology is what is going to transform the world ahead of us. So once you've been able to run several experiments and you begin to get some traction, maybe you had an app that was supposed to be maybe a video game or a game for students to learn, and you are actively tracking how the product is doing, the question is, what do you need to do next? A lot of times, most people focus on the now, which is the problem I'm trying to solve now. But once you solve that problem, what next? You have companies that had great ideas, they came out with it, and they were doing fine. A competitor saw it, did the exact same thing, but had a longer runway, and they overtook those companies. So while you're paying attention to the now, you also need to focus on what is the long-term play, because it's absolutely critical. Again, some questions you need to ask yourself while building your product and your product is out there. I tell people you need to measure everything. I keep saying what you don't measure will kill you. Some people say no, I say yes. What you don't measure will kill you, because when you see, you're able to take information. If you're following what's happening on Twitter now, you see Elon Musk every day talking about daily active users. Paying attention to the metrics for your product is absolutely key. So peradventure, you were successful on this journey of building your product, and your product has gotten to the point where your customers are buying your product, the number of users on your platform are growing steadily every day. What you then need to focus on, the techniques, the principles, the things you need to run your product are completely different at that stage, and you need to begin to scale. But most times, most people don't pay attention to a lot of these data, and they just begin to scale from day one, and they eventually end up drawing drawing on their financial runway and the startups fail. So again, paying attention to these things are critical. Almost done. So again, in summary, understanding your market is key. Understand your customers. I say solve problems that move the needle. A lot of times we define our problem statement and it's very small. The people who created companies that have over 20 million users are individuals. So aim for the large-scale problems to solve. And again, be intentional in getting understanding of your markets and your users. Finally, product market fit is hard. I will tell you for free. It's a never-ending journey, but once you get it, you need to be able to scale it and you need to maintain it. If not, another company will come and overrun you. Thank you. Any questions? I have a question at the back.
Hi, good afternoon, I presume. Good afternoon, everybody. Please, just a little question I would like to ask. I recently resigned from my job. I was working a full-time tech job. I resigned from my job to start my own tech firm. Most of my products are not for the general public. It's majorly targeted at government organizations and things like that now. But I've been having this challenge where I pitch ideas to clients and they go meet a bigger partner that they already have. For instance, I meet Access Bank and say, this your platform is operating optimally, but we can do this, do that, do this, do that to optimize it for better efficiency. And then they go meet another of their clients. They take my idea off me. What can I do as a startup tech firm to protect users and clients from stealing my ideas? Thank you.
All right, so I know within Nigeria there's also patenting your ideas. That exists. Most people don't know. So again, when going into the market to meet people and pitch your ideas, you need to pitch it in a way where you don't give them all the information on how you intend to execute until you sign the deal. Because what would happen is that people will take your idea from you, find somebody who's going to do it at 1/3 of the price, and get it done. So you need to make sure your presentations and how you pitch, the execution details are not visible until you sign the contract. So I think that's what I recommend. Yeah?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, how are you?
I'm very fine. My first question is, for example, you are building a product that, connects people that are providing a service to people that are receiving a service. For example, let's say a teacher to a student. Who should be your customers in that scenario? That's my number one question.
Okay.
Number two question is, when you narrow down a problem to, let's say, a very small niche, let's say, for example, University of Benin, let's say you are building an e-commerce service in University of Benin alone, with a value proposition of getting product to people on time, with a
value proposition
of getting products to people on time, let's say within 2 hours,
okay,
right? Because of you're in a very small place. Now, when you want to scale that product to, let's say you want to increase the reach of that product, how do you do it and not scale it to a point that you start interfering with other big companies that are already doing?
I can hear you.
Okay, sorry. Let me go over it again.
Yes, please.
I think, for example, you are building a product
Yes.
for a very small niche,
Yes.
right? And you want to scale that product. How do you scale it in a way not to get to interfere with other bigger products or bigger brands that are already producing that same product?
Okay, so your first question was who's your customer?
Yeah, when you are building for
A student or a teacher?
Yeah, you are building a service that connects two people.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's say a service provider and a service receiver. who should be your customer?
So
between both of
it's down to the problem you are solving. Whose problem are you solving? Are you solving a problem for the student? Are you solving a problem for the teacher? The teacher may be a partner that you need to solve the student's problem. So you are building it for this person, and this is who you need to partner with to be able to deliver that service, right? The second question is not quite clear. Can I come and meet you after?
Let me go right again.
No. So we have 4 people standing.
Okay, so I have a last question.
Okay, go ahead.
Right? So, for example, after building a product and you get your product, can you launch it to the market without having a clear and defined way to make money from it? Let's say you want to analyze later to see what business model to employ.
Yeah, you can also do that.
Okay, thank you.
You can also do that. But if it's successful, you might be stuck with the model you started with.
Good afternoon, Princess. I want to ask, if you have a business or a line, okay, for example, a fashion line, and we all know that, okay, there is a problem with starting something, that is the force of inertia. How do you get your business from your local space, because we are talking about technology and, the online space? Do you have like a template that can actually guide to, break that initial to leave your local to the online space? And also the second question, I don't know if there's any way we can reach to get your slides, download your slide or something.
I can get the slides.
All right, so.
So your first question is a little bit tricky. The inertia, I think the problem most times is people need to come out of that fear. Just try it. I personally feel that if you do that first, you'll be able to move forward. Don't worry about how tech is big and things, but come out of yourself and ask yourself, what is the problem I want to solve? Let me just even experiment and see how it's going to be. So if you're a fashion designer, what problem do people have with fashion design today? Tailors are unreliable. How do I put myself out there and ensure I build quality products that do not, that solve that problem of tailors not being reliable? So again, just try. Yeah, I'll send it. I will find you at the back. All right.
Good afternoon, Ma. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jennifer. My question is, how do you do it in a situation whereby you are into production? Let us assume I produce red oil, custard, and I take my product to the market. And when I get to the market women will tell me, wow, your product is nice, the oil is good, the custard is good, but you don't have a name yet. Let us know your product first everywhere. And you then go to the social media, post it online, and you just get like just 2 viewers after paying money for it. So what do we do?
So the question is, who are your target audience for your palm oil?
Everybody.
No, that's too broad. Who are the people who need to know that there's a fantastic palm oil you've produced?
The women.
Women? Okay. Restaurants that cook African food. So you need to narrow that down and then begin to push your products into those markets. Because you left it very general, you just get a lot of resistance from everybody. The people who need to know that your palm oil is fantastic are restaurants who make Nigerian foods, people who like to buy food in bulk. So you need to narrow it down to that particular level and then sell to those specific people. You can sell to Instagram vendors who make food because they will need a source of palm oil. But how do you build that trust between yourself and that new customer? Do you want to have sample products that your customers can sample? There are many ways. You just need to think through it. Yeah? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's my time up. Go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. All right, I believe this question was asked initially, but I didn't get a clear answer from you. I have a friend who started a particular company. Now, when he was seeking for investment, he spoke to the head of product for a particular company. I don't want to mention their name. Now, after a certain time, the company on their Twitter page announced that they are releasing a product, an aspect for their company that does that particular thing that his company does. Now, in that case, how does he fight that company? Because they are a large corporation. What does he do?
You want to go to court?
I don't know.
You could go to court, but you know the system is not that straight. You might be there for a long time. That's why I said it's better to ensure that before you go down that journey and sign certain things and reveal information about that product, you have signed certain agreements. It's tough out there, but you have to do that.
All right, the second question. All right, take peradventure you have a business that you looked at your target audience, but you did your market analysis and you found out that your organization is really going to help a lot of people, but your target audience are not enabled to buy your product.
Then why are you in business?
Because I've read somewhere how that companies like Uber and Bolt, they don't make profits. They always break even year after year. I want to really know how they stay afloat.
So they have other things funding their business model. So you may just see the Bolt and Uber that doesn't make profit, but the money is coming from somewhere else. And you don't have that money, they have the money.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your session. So I have a question, yeah. Now for a big company like what you said, trying to attain product market fit and actually building their product, they can have enough resources to expend to try to get this done. But now let's try to imagine a smaller team, let's say a group of young persons who are trying to create or bring an idea to life and sell it, right? So they might not have the resources to expend as much as the bigger firm. So how will a team of that nature find a balance? You know, trying to navigate to find a balance between actually trying to test, refine their idea, their product to have this product market fit and actually building. Because sometimes it's very easy to get stuck trying to get this market fit area segmented and then abandon the product or the idea at the end.
So my recommendation would be there's a lot of free resources out there. So for example, infrastructure costs, if you were building a product and hosting in the cloud, you could get Microsoft Azure for free for 1 year or AWS. So you need to manage your costs upfront. But the truth about product market fit is that you are in Edo State. There's a market here. There are needs here. If you find that need, you don't need to go so far to be able to identify and spend so much money. These things don't require so much money. They just require research and time and going out to meet your customers to understand their needs before you build. So that's what I'll say. Don't worry about the big companies. If your idea is great and there's a need, you'll be fine. Thank you. That's all. Thank you very much.
Let's put our hands together one more time for Princess Edosagi. That was an awesome presentation and an awesome session. I hope we've been having a good time. So I will need you to do something. I believe we've all been seated and I will need you to stretch a little bit. So can we all rise? Can we rise? Thank you very much, rise. I need you to do something for the next 1 minute. I need you to talk to someone by your side and ask them a question, any question at all. Tell them to tell you something about themselves that you have never told someone before. Just ask that question. Tell me something about you that you have never told any. They're strangers, all right? So your secret is safe. Just do that 1 minute. Tell me something about you that nobody else knows. Me? I'll tell you. All right, about now, we have some cameras going up. We have drones everywhere. So I will need you to do something, all right? While that is going up, the lights will go off. Are we listening, please? The lights will go off, and I need everybody, bring out your smartphone, turn on your flashlights. Put on your flashlight, the lights will go off in 5, 4, 3, put on your flashlights, 2. Are we ready? Are we ready? Put on your flashlights, everybody. Come on. Put it on. The lights are going off now. Put it up. Are we ready? Can the lights go up now? Let them know what's going on in Edo State. Let them know. Woo! Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Put your hands together for yourselves, please. Put your hands together for yourselves. You can have your seats now. Thank you. Thank you very much. So right about now, we're going to be having another activity. We're going to be hearing. Can we turn the music down, please? Please turn the music down. Thank you. So right about now, you're going to be hearing from some amazing businesses that exist in those states. We hosted a business pitch alongside the hackathon. What that means is that for people that already have existing businesses that are thriving and are doing something in those states, trying to solve the problems that we listed for the hackathon, we invited them to give a pitch. And after going through series of presentations and series of submissions, we've come down to the last categories, the last entries. For today, we are going to take entries from the education sector, and we have two amazing businesses that will be coming up right now to give their pitch. All right? Are we ready? Are we ready for that? So I'm going to call up on stage right now the first business, Innovates. Put your hands together for Innovates.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. As we say in Benin, Wabokian, I am Aki.
Please, can we put the music down, please? Can we have the music down? Thank you.
So, good day, ladies and gentlemen, and as we say in Benin, Wabokian, I am Akigbe Remosele, business developer at Inoki Tech Limited, and we will be pitching for our Tech for Rural Communities project. In 2019, Sarah was just an average Nigerian youth serving the nation in the NYSC scheme with the hope that at the end of her service year, she would join the about 33% of unemployed Nigerian youths in seeking a job. But then in 2020, COVID happened and the world was shut down. And in this period, she thought to herself, how could she upskill herself with tech skills to be better positioned in the job market? In researching, she found the Edo Tech Innovations Hub, which at the time was hosting an AWS training. She joined in the trainings, got certified, and got into more trainings until she found satisfaction in the Microsoft ecosystem. She has gone from then to today become the co-founder and lead business apps developer at Inoki Tech Limited. Sarah's story is similar to that of most young people seated in this room, building a career in tech, with similar opportunity open to young people in urban areas everywhere in Edo State. But with 47.25% of our population resident in rural areas, according to the World Bank data, it is very evident that a huge chunk of our population do not have access to this same opportunity. Research by McKinsey shows that by 2030, 800 million jobs are going to go obsolete on the global scale, while about 890 million new jobs are expected to be created, which will require knowledge of 21st century tech skills. While youth in urban areas are beginning to upskill themselves, this opportunity is not available also to rural youth, and it therefore means that there is a knowledge and skills gap between urban and rural dwellers. Bridging this gap is where Inoki comes to exist. Beginning by second quarter of 2023, Inoki aims to begin its Tech for Rural Communities project, which will see us take tech trainings in skills such as web development, data analytics, as well as building business applications to rural communities around Usen, Uromi, and Auchi for a start. These trainings will be done in 6 weeks in-person immersive cohort trainings. At the end of this 6 weeks training, in partnership with Edo Jobs, we will be placing the best performing candidates into a 6 months paid internship. At the end of the internship, in partnership with Mindshift Consultancy Services, we'll be fixing these interns into tech jobs within and outside of Edo State. Now, Inoki is an education and tech consulting company in Edo State that provides SMEs with tech and business solutions in a cost-effective and accessible fashion. We have on our team 3 Microsoft certified trainers, 2 AWS certified practitioners, 1 AWS solutions architect, one data analysis associate, one business developer, and Microsoft certified educator. Over the last 2 years, in collaboration with a few other organizations, Inoki has trained over 5,000 people with tech skills, both in and out of Edo State, with some of these people currently holding roles in international organizations such as Western Union and Work Your Data. Over the last year, Inoki has generated over 2 million naira in revenue from our business activities of building tech and business solutions. So, from our business activities of building tech solutions for SMEs and building custom apps and school management systems. And we project that if we're able to commence this Tech for Rural Communities project, we'll be able to generate an additional 4 million naira in revenue stream per annum. With this grant, we will be able to procure a few new laptops, refurbish some of the laptops we currently have, as well as finance training and logistic costs of moving these trainings down to the rural areas. At Inoki, we believe that talent is everywhere, but access and opportunity is not. With this grant, we will democratize this access and opportunity in Edo State, in the rural community, so that we can have a lot more Sarahs coming out from the rural communities, just as we have people in the urban communities developing themselves in tech skills. Thank you for listening.
All right, we just heard from Inoki Tech, and we're going to call the second team coming up right about now, Tech Scholars. Put up hands together for Tech Scholars.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Prince Phil, alongside my partners, Kelechi, Eric, and Mira. We are here to tell you about Tech Scholar.
In 2018, my team and I carried out a survey. Our case study was secondary schools in Benin City, Edo State. And we found out that 8 out of 10 of these schools do not have basic facilities to teach ICT education. This is how Tech Scholar was birthed. Tech Scholar focuses on schools that are deficient of basic ICT equipment and facilities to teach ICT education. That is why we train students in secondary schools on the intricacies and basics of ICT education. You might wonder, what is our curriculum like? We have a curriculum that is well-versed in both the Ministry of Education and our own. So we are not only teaching these children what they need to learn to pass exams, but we are also teaching them what they need in basic day-to-day activities. We plan on doing that by partnering with schools to provide for them to pay a sum that will be used to train these students for a period of 1 term, which is 3 months. And we'll also hold boot camps for these students. Now I'll be inviting Prince Okwe, our team trainer, to talk about the attractions.
Thank you very much, Kelechi. Since the inception of Tech Scholar in the year 2019, we've been able to generate a total revenue of 1.6 million naira, partnering with 5 schools. And we're able to reach out to more than 1,600 students in this time frame. Talking about our market size, there are over 500 functional secondary schools in Edo State. And by the end of 2024, we have a milestone, we've hit a milestone of partnering with at least 100 secondary schools, reaching out to over 20,000 secondary school students, impacting them with quality ICT education. How do we generate our revenue? We do this by the digital training we apply to these schools, and also these schools can also consult on how they can bring about digitization in their operations. We are currently functional in Edo State, but we are looking forward to expanding our tentacles to neighboring states like Ondo State and Delta State. Why Tech Scholar?
Okay, so Tech Scholar is not just a business idea. Tech Scholar is an opportunity for empowerment. Tech Scholar is bringing the solution of solving the 4th and 5th SDG goals, which are quality education and gender equality. Gender equality, you might ask. A research shows that 73.5 techies in the workforce are male. So we bringing Tech Scholar to the doorsteps of these students brings equality, a girl child has the chance or the opportunity to learn tech. And it is refreshing, very refreshing, to be able to train a child to be a techie just like myself. We are once again Tech Scholar.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was an amazing session. Put your hands together one more time, please. Just to let you know, at the end of this program, the winners of the hackathon and business speech will be announced. So please stick around. Coming up next is a discuss on what is needed to grow investment in Africa and to nurture the wealth of talent and potentials by Emmanuel Asika. Emmanuel Asika is a country head for Nigeria, Omni-Channel Manager, ACE, board member, and digital equity advocate. Please, let's make welcome Emmanuel Asika.
Dangerous, hazardous, famous, rich of course, Lagos, you better hustle. Wishy, low man, loju titi, see that popo. Nowadays,
Ladies and gentlemen, please bear with us as we are having a little technical issue as we get ready for Emmanuel Asika.
She go up, down, touchdown, shut down, sun up, sun down, everything on lockdown. She says you no go keep us, I said brick no they keep us, baby small body big and I dey follow all that process. You know joke, you know, Sale, Mbale, Commando, yeah, show. ready to be your dad. You take me places I've never been before. This love is crazy, shit, you want testing me down. So I swear, anything you want, I gon' do. Say your love turn me to me more. Tell me what them haters gon' do. No idea, they don't get password to the Wi-Fi. They just want to know our lifestyle. For your love, I know they control. I keep loving you every day. I'ma be high but not today. You know it anyway. It's me and you against the world anyway. Even inside the rain, we'll go all the way. Cause it's nice to see the rainbow anytime the rain goes. Showed you to my day ones and they all like you. So I swear, anything you want I gon' do. Say your love turn me to more. Tell me what them haters gon' do. No idea, they don't get password to the Wi-Fi. They just want to know our lifestyle. For your love, I know they control.
Timmy J on the
Hello, everybody. So we want to thank you for coming today. We know we started late today because of some hitches. Tomorrow we are starting exactly 10, and we'll be having awesome master classes tomorrow. So it means that we'll be closing on time tomorrow when we start 10. So because of the hitches today, so we sincerely apologize for that. So we look forward to seeing you tomorrow by 10 o'clock. Thank you.
Agata from Osaka from Nibulala, Nishilo Japa, Omajabota, Migapa. I don't like the nonsense with Yakubota. I don't like the nonsense with Yakubota, Bota. Nishilo Japa, Omajabota, Migapa. I don't like the nonsense with Yakubota. I don't like the nonsense with Yakubota, Bota. Sunga, sunga la ja 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 sunga, sunga sunga sunga, sunga la ja 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 sunga, ulu sunga ja sunga, sunga sunga sunga, sunga la ja 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 sunga, sunga sunga sunga, ulu sunga ja. Mr. Money with the vibe right now. Mr. Money with the vibe right now. Mr. Money with the vibe right now. Mr. Money with the vibe right now.
Master player and Afrobeat wonderman, DJ Kenzo on the wheels of steel, turning up DJ the best tunes.
Last, now everybody go to breakfast.
Now be worried about him, yeah. I know the truth. I think he's just the man for you.
Nothing to discuss, cause I did win by default and without any doubt. Mama, me happy adult, I no go feed Take your, I no go feed the choice out, oh. My mind that's really talk, oh. I put my life into my job and I know I'm in trouble. She manipulate my love, oh. I know holy, and I know they care, oh. Like the Baba Frayo, my ayo, don't cry, oh. And if you go, I shadow. 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 Shadow. And if you go, I shadow. And if you go, I shadow. And if you go, I shadow.
Who do you think I am? Don't you know that he was my man? Well, I chose to let him go, so why do you act like I still care about him? Looking at me like I'm hurt when I'm the one who said I didn't want it to work. Don't you forget I had him first. What you think? Stop blaming me. He wasn't man enough for me. You don't know, now he's your chance. I've already had your man. Now be worried about him next. I know the truth. I think he's just a man for you.
She got a man and she wanna get down. Wanna party till the sun goes down tonight. I just want to grab your waistline tonight. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The way you want your body for me, they make me want to you, mommy. Oh my little wine. The way you want your body for me, they make me want to dash you cocky. Oh my little wine. Ooh yeah, yeah, yeah. I just want some little fun, little flex, little wine, little something tonight. Oh na na na, I just want some little wine, little fun, little flex, little something tonight. Ah yeah yeah yeah. I got a girl but I wanna get down. Wanna party till the sun goes down tonight. And she got a boy but she don't really mind. She just want to ride on something tonight. Ooh, the way you want your body for me, they make me want to you, mommy. Oh my little wine. The way you want your body for me, they make me want to dash you cocky. Oh my little wine. Ooh yeah, yeah, yeah. I just want some little fun, little flex, little wine, little something tonight. Oh na na na, I just want some little wine, little fun, little flex, little something tonight. Ah yeah yeah yeah, I just want some little fun,
Can't seem to take my eyes off of you, especially your bite and move. The way you roll that thing, me wanna hold that thing. Baby, let me take a look. Oh Lord, me want all the girls in the whole world. I know what I'm doing is so wrong, but since no man can focus, we definitely don't give a fuck. She said she know me got a girlfriend, and so what? What if I do? She said she know me got a woman on me bed. What if I, oh la la la, what if I do? Listen to me quick, so me girlfriend says she wants me back home by 2. What will I do? So me tell her say my car broke down at mile 2. Girl, I won't be home so soon. Oh Lord, me want all the girls in the whole world. I know what I'm doing is so wrong, but since no man can focus, we definitely don't give a fuck. She said she know me got a girlfriend, and so what? What if I do? She said she know me got a woman on me bed. What if
see. Hey.